Hi guys, it's Michelle, Deception Bytes, and it is June 13th, and I'm bringing you the new Q from today. It is 11:22 p.m. Eastern Time. Let's get started. Now, this is huge. Now, I know, everybody says that. It's huge, man, it's freaking huge. No, seriously, this is big, and I know you're going to agree once you've listened to what I have to say, because yes, I know that there are other people out there decoding and they are doing a wonderful job, some of them, and but I've got some just extra little things to share that I think that you're going to find very interesting. So I left off with this in the last video, and this is a picture of somewhere in Alaska. It's taken from an airplane. Well, come to find out, it was taken from Air Force One, and we will get into that a little bit later. But I just wanted to remind you of this picture that was in the last post. It was the very last post from my last video. So that's coming up. And I also put this in here. This wasn't in the Q drop, of course, but it is important. It's important news, and I think that we all need to know this and be aware of it. Congress and POTUS will be briefed on the Inspector General report noon tomorrow. Public release 3 p.m. Now, I would imagine that that is Eastern Time, because I think I'm in the same time zone as Washington, D.C., if I'm not mistaken, and I would be really surprised if I am. So anyway, tomorrow it's going to be released to the public at 3 p.m. Okay, I've kind of left my afternoon free for that reason, because I'm very much anticipating its release. I'm going to get all my stuff done in the morning that I have to do, so that I can just kind of be on this and wait for it, because it's been a long go. Now, none of us really know exactly what's going to happen. We can guess, but none of us know. But I am sure that it's going to be pretty explosive. I shouldn't even say that word. It's going to be big. I shouldn't say the word explosive, especially in regards to some things that have happened that I will get into as we go forward. All right, and this was the video that I missed from the 12th, and it just says, Godspeed, one and all, Q+. So that is the Q team. All right, now, I'm going to explain this, and then I'm going to come down and I'm going to show you some things that were sent to me, and you can just tell me what you think. All right, now, this is posted by Q, and it was posted actually June 12th, so I did not get to this until today, but it was from June 12th, and it has a picture of what looks to me like a missile. I thought that it looked like a missile before I knew what it was. So, and underneath, Q says, this is not a game. Certain events were not supposed to take place. Q. Now, if you notice, that should be certain events were not supposed, with a D, to take place. Q. Q knows how to drive an English major completely berserk. But enough about that. This post is missing the D. Okay? So the Black Hats, the deep state, launched a missile over Washington state, and it was shot down. Now, how do I know that? I'll tell you. I'll show you. And by the way, there wasn't just one missile. There's been 2 missiles that have been shot down. This is going to be very important. Mystery object. Now, this was a day ago, so this would have been the 12th. Mystery object spotted over Washington State Island. Military denies missile launch. Okay. A mysterious object was seen off the coast of a Washington State island last weekend. The military denies it was a missile launch. A weather camera on an island in Washington state on Sunday captured a mystery object that appears to some to be a missile in ascent. The object was spotted at 3:56 a.m. So this is like almost 4 in the morning. This missile happens over Whidbey Island, where there is a naval base, or a naval air station rather, but a spokesman from the NAS Whidbey Island said there are no missile capabilities at the base. There's a lot of speculation around here, Tom Mills, the spokesman said, but it's definitely not a missile launch. Yep, it was. A professor of atmospheric sciences at the University of Washington speculated that the object looks like a missile. Sure does. I've seen a lot of stuff, Cliff Mass, the professor said, but nothing like this. There was reportedly an air ambulance helicopter in the vicinity of the northern Kitsap Peninsula that was flying at the same time the shot was taken. So what's that supposed to mean? That we're supposed to believe this is a helicopter? Don't think so. All right, let's go back. It's all going to come together. I promise. All right, now I'm not sure if I should go to that yet, or let's go up here a little bit. Now, this Anon says, calls Q on the missing D and says, supposed missing D? And Q responds to this person and says, D. Yeah. So he's acknowledging, yeah, that the D was missing. It was not a typo, because if it was a typo, he would say so. Because I've seen him do that, going, oops, typo, or whatever. So yes, Q has made typos before, but he comes quickly and says they are typos. Didn't do this in this case. He acknowledged that, yes, the D is missing. So what does that mean? Well, I clipped out this person's response because I thought she did she does a good job. Now, I don't like her last name, Crowley, but she can't help that. In the context of the other missing letters in POTUS tweets and missing D in Q's drop, certain events were not supposed to take place, D could possibly mean defensive weapon used to stop the deep state missile. So now I think it's a good time to read to you what came to me. This was well before the meeting in North Korea. And I think I received it on the 10th or 11th, I believe. And might have even been sooner than that, because I don't always check my private messages. I'm bad that way. So these are some messages that came to me privately. And they are from, the first two are from someone that contacts me fairly frequently and has always used the same name to contact me. Now, I know that they have something to do with intelligence of some sort. I believe they are probably NSA, but I could be wrong. I could be definitely wrong. But they are definitely intelligence of some sort, and they are definitely on the side of QAnon and POTUS. So I take what they say, but I also realize that this is not Q. So anything they say that contradicts Q, I would discard. But I have never, till this point, seen anything that contradicted Q. So I am going to read these just because what they said ended up being pretty prophetic. So how did they know? All right. Now, again, I've taken the name off, everything that would identify them, because they obviously don't want to be identified. And the first two are from one that contacts me regularly. The second two are from someone whose name frequently changes, but I always know it's them by the way they address me. They always address me in a certain way that nobody else does, and I know that it's them. So this came via that person or persons that. All right. So the first message. There is a possibility, more than a remote one, that there will be a major terrorist incident, even more serious than 9/11, in Singapore. All hands are on deck. Use discernment. So I chose to not purposefully yesterday not say anything about this because there's no sense in getting people upset about something that might not take place. And, telling somebody, coming to you and saying, there might be a terrorist attack in Singapore. Well, how does that help anybody? Because none of us are in Singapore. Maybe a few, but I doubt it. And so I just didn't feel that it was advantageous to anyone to do that. And I felt that it would be fear porn for me to do that. But now that there's been 2 missile strikes that have been shot down, it kind of makes this seem a little prophetic to me. All right? Now let's go to the next one. Deception is necessary to conduct war successfully, as facts are even more necessary. There is a possibility that what is to happen the next 48 hours may change our world, and likely not in the way everyone is expecting. Now, again, this was given before the North Korea summit. This was, because I missed it. It had been in there for a few days before I even found it. There is a possibility that what may happen in the next 48 hours may change our world, and likely not in the way everyone is expecting. The alliance is very carefully watching the enemy. Now, who is the alliance? I don't know. But I know that there is, from what I gather, there are people worldwide helping with this. So, yeah. Anyway, the alliance is very carefully watching the enemy. Who is where? Where are they going, doing, with whom, and why? The intent of the buildup is as much to scatter the cockroaches. Now, notice that they made a spelling error, but I think that they did that, put an H instead of a K, because it would have got censored and sent to another folder. So I think that's why they did that. I don't think that they're illiterate or anything. The intent of the buildup is as much to scatter the cockroaches and watch what holes they run into as it is to bring the news. Much disinformation on the wing, increased discernment. So there's much disinformation out there, so we need to increase our discernment. That's good. That's good advice. Where we go one, we go all. If the scenario is something that will shake the world, it will take some time for people to absorb, and much will be misunderstood. Use SaveNet.net to download YouTube videos. Save breaking news articles and any in-depth analysis. The deep state will fight back with disinformation, misinformation, non-information, counter-information, campaign, censorship. Keep an even keel. So that was his advice to me, and again warning me that something could happen within that 24 hours. Well, that 48 hours did in fact cover the time that of the 2 missiles that got shot down. So this person was not spreading fear for no reason, because had one of those missiles not been shot down, I don't know, what were they intended for? Who were they intended for? We've got missiles that can reach across the ocean, so I don't know. I mean, I'm not a weapons expert by any stretch of the imaginations, but I don't know. So here is the last 2, and these are by another helper anon. I don't know what else to call these people, so I call them helper anons. Why they're giving me this information, I have no idea. I'm grateful for any information that I'm passed, and I hope that they continue, because it is very interesting and it helps me to gain a better understanding of what is happening. But I don't know. So this person says, the deep state has 3 nuclear submarines, which are armed and used for smuggling heroin, weapons, and people. The 3 subs were supposedly decommissioned in the 80s, but weren't. One of those on the Q team is Barron Trump, being groomed to become president in 2042. We are living in historic times. Regard. Now, I don't know about that. I don't know. That's what this person is saying. I don't know about the Barron Trump. Don't know. I think that he's probably very, very intelligent. Whether he's being groomed now, I don't know. Who knows? I guess it could be true. But this I find interesting, and I do believe this. I do believe that this person's telling me the truth on this. The deep state has 3 nuclear submarines, which are armed and used for smuggling heroin, weapons, and people. The 3 subs were supposedly decommissioned in the 80s, but weren't. Okay? So keep that in the back of your head, that the deep state has 3 nuclear submarines, okay? Because it'll become more important. Now, this is interesting too. Same person, under a different name, but I know how because of the way that they address me, that it is them. There are 2 squads of doorknob scarf professionals. Western North America, Eastern North America. The Rothschilds have an extremely secure private global network, including satellites, satellite uplink, downlinks. One is outside of the Brofman estate. Atherton, North California, one outside of Santiago, Chile, one on South Island, New Zealand, and many others. This network includes their 3 private nuke submarines, which have communications device. They send communications on a laser beam from the sub to a satellite, and at times the sub to a moon-based reflector. I don't know about any of this. I'm like illiterate when it comes to this stuff. So any of you guys know, please, say, okay, this is ridiculous. There's no way, or say, yes, whatever. Just leave comments below. These laser signals cannot be intercepted and are also encrypted. They also own a network of dark fiber laid within old natural gas pipelines across the U.S. More later. So, I felt it was important to bring this to you guys just because of the whole nuclear submarine part. That's the part that I wanted you all to see. And I did so without sharing their names or any other identifying features there. So let's go on. So we know this is a missile. Wow. There are planes out there like crazy tonight. I'm in a flight path. Okay. So let's go up here. And Q says, he's actually, hang on here. Need to go up one more. Okay. Now, look what Q posts. It's a picture of a what? A submarine. Now, why did he post that? And this is after I had received this communication from these helper anons, I guess they are. I don't know who they are. So, what's he telling us? And then he says, reverse image search. Think hack. Communications dark. Q. Okay. And then below, Q makes reference to this and says, event talk being attacked. Event talk being attacked. Now, I don't know exactly what he means by this, but is he saying that there's chatter about an event? That they're talking about attacking? I don't know. Event talk being attacked. Now, what is it? The talk about the North Korean summit is being attacked because that, was the last event that happened. And are they attacking POTUS? I don't know. None of this makes sense to me. Any way I look at this, it still doesn't make sense. And then it says reference, vol pic, POTUS tweets, missing letters. You have more than you know. Some areas we cannot expand on. Critical thinking, Q. All right, so he's saying that we have more than we know and that the missing letters are important. So let's, now, again, I have used Lisa May. I would assume that that's how she pronounces her middle name. I've used her quote again. I just want to give her credit. Reverse image search turned up the article from regarding Chinese hacking a Navy contractor's computer, giving access to sensitive data related to secret Navy projects on a submarine anti-ship missile. Sounds like a deep state setup to blame missile launch on China. I don't know, but you can bet that Q knew what this picture was before he posted it. And it's tied to an article about the Chinese hacking a Navy contractor's computer, giving access to sensitive data related to secret Navy projects on a submarine anti-ship missile. So I think that that is pertinent. So there we have that. And here is something else that she had. 502 errors. Okay, wait, hang on. Let me get up to here first. Okay, hang on. I've got so much information here and it's kind of like all over the place. 502 errors on boards. Event talk being attacked. Assume missile launch pic. Event wasn't supposed to happen. Alaska volcano picture with unidentified object and missing I and P in POTUS tweets. Missile and stopped. And reference as the world turns and Red October equals deep state missile launch from sub versus Air Force One. So, and we're going to see that at least one of those missiles was meant to take down Air Force One. All right, so she blew this up. And she says, mountain, what is this? Or what is that? So, that was in the picture that Q posted yesterday. Now, this is something that was sent to me via a friend overseas that has regularly sent me some interesting things and is, a really good researcher. So I'm not going to give away her name as not so sure where she is that she would want that done. But she showed this, and this is where the missile was launched, okay? Here. And here's the Gulf Van, Alaska. And she says, in the screenshot, you can see the red dot. From there was the missile fired. Where it says Gulf Van, Alaska, that's where the picture from Trump's plane was taken. Yeah. So the picture was taken over here, and this was where the missile launched. So that picture that taken by Air Force One was probably the missile, and it was intercepted by the good guys. Now, that's pretty darn scary. Seriously, think about that. Just think about that. What would have happened if that missile had taken down Air Force One? And who would have been blamed? That's what I'd like to know. Because they would have blamed somebody. It would have started World War III. It literally would have. And we would have been without a president. It's frightening to think about. And it's frightening how much they want him dead. So this is pretty pertinent, and I think that what these helper anons told me, I think is true. I really do. Now, I'm not going to stake my life on it because, well, I wouldn't stake my life on too much, actually, because I value my life. But, I would say that it's so. All right, now let's go up to the next Q post, and it's here, and he says, connected. And he has 2 news articles. And then he says, Kashyap Patel name to remember. So let's go out and take a look at what he wants us to look at. Okay. Nunes, Gaudi's, I don't know if it's Nunes or Nunes because, as I say, I read all my news. I don't listen to it.
The meeting was brokered after Chairman Nunes issued a subpoena April 30th for records about alleged government surveillance abuse during the 2016 election. Chairman Nunes and Gowdy.
Okay. Nunes and Gowdy accused DOJ of launching anonymous attacks on congressional investigator. Hang on. 2 senior House Republicans are accusing the Justice Department of being behind anonymous attacks in the press targeting a White House or House Intelligence Committee GOP staffer who helped author the committee's well-publicized memo alleging surveillance abuse by the FBI and DOJ during the 2016 election. The same House staffer is also a driving force behind the latest Russia records standoff. I would have a lot more respect for DOJ or House Committee Democrats if they would take out their frustrations on members of Congress and leave staffers alone, South Carolina Rep. Trey Gowdy, the Republican chairman of the House Oversight Committee, told Fox News on Monday. The members make the final decision and are responsible for them, not staffers. Attacking staffers, planting false stories, and endangering national security by leaking sensitive information to the press, including information about intelligence sources. This is what the DOJ is doing, and this is why trust in the DOJ is rapidly eroding in Congress, said the California Representative Devin Nunes, the GOP chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. In response to the GOP committee chairman, Justice Department spokesman Sarah Isgur Flores said, as Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein has said repeatedly, we don't put a lot of stock in anonymous sources over here, and we are committed to continuing to work with Chairman Gowdy and Nunes to accommodate their requests. Nunes and Gowdy were reacting to a weekend New York Times report that cited anonymous sources in detailing growing tension between the parties amid a contentious request for records involving an individual and intelligence reporting that may have been used for the Russia case, as well as in obtaining surveillance warrants. Citing a formal federal law enforcement official, the New York Times reported that Rosenstein, who oversees the Russia probe, felt misled by Nunes' staff over House Intelligence Committee investigator Kash Patel's travel to London last year. Secret FBI sources' role becomes dossier-level focus of GOP Russia probe. The newspaper, citing the same official, reported Rosenstein wanted to know if Patel was attempting to interview former British spy Christopher Steele, the author behind the salacious anti-Trump dossier. But the House Intelligence Committee says the staffer was already in London on committee business. The story that Kash flew to London to meet with Christopher Steele is false, no matter how many times it's reported, House Intelligence Committee's staff director Damon Nelson said. Nelson said he asked Patel and another staffer to try to make contact with Steele's lawyer as part of an effort to obtain an address to send Steele an invitation to testify to the committee. Anonymous DOJ officials who imply to reporters that Kash has ever been dishonest. Anonymous DOJ officials who imply to reporters that Kash has ever been dishonest about this are spreading an outright falsehood, Nelson said. If the anonymous DOJ officials want the truth, they can talk to me. In the story, the New York Times reported that top officials at the Justice Department are worried these congressional Republicans are simply mining government secrets for information they can weaponize against those investigating the president, like Special Counsel Robert Mueller. In a statement to Fox News, Nunes backed up Patel as an absolutely crucial committee investigator who's always two steps ahead of the DOJ. In fact, we suspect his effectiveness is exactly why the DOJ are launching anonymous attacks on him in the press, Nunes says. Gowdy said he interacts with Patel often. So, yeah. The original plan is widely reported for the chairman Nunez and Gowdy to go down to the DOJ on Thursday afternoon. The sources said the speaker didn't have anything to do with setting that meeting up or choosing its attendees. So I don't know. That's the one that he wanted us to look at, and this is another. Rosenstein threatened to subpoena GOP-led committee in chilling clash over records. Email show.
The number 2 official of
All right.
the Justice Department is playing hardball with congressional.
So, Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein threatened to subpoena emails, phone records, and other documents from lawmakers and staff on a Republican-led House committee during a tense meeting earlier this year, according to emails reviewed by Fox News, documenting the encounter and reflecting what aides described as a personal attack. The emails memorialized a January 2018 closed-door meeting involving senior FBI and Justice Department officials, as well as members of the House Intelligence Committee. The account claimed Rosenstein threatened to turn the tables on the committee's inquiries regarding the Russian probe. The DAG, Deputy Attorney General Rosenstein, criticized the committee for sending a request in writing and was further critical of the committee's request to have the DOJ FBI do the same when responding. The committee's then senior counsel for counterterrorism, Kash Patel, wrote to the House Office of General Counsel, going so far as to say that if the committee likes being litigators, then we, DOJ, we too are litigators, and we will subpoena your records and your emails, referring to HPSCI, House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, and Congress overall. A second House committee staffer at the meeting backed up Patel's account, writing, "Let me just add that watching the Deputy Attorney General launch a sustained personal attack against a congressional staffer in retaliation for vigorous oversight was astonishing and disheartening. Also, having the nation's number 1 for these matters law enforcement officer threaten to subpoena your calls and emails was downright chilling." The committee staffer noted that Rosenstein's comment could be interpreted as meaning the department would vigorously defend a contempt action, which might be expected, but the staffer continued, "I also read it as a not-so-veiled threat to unleash the full prosecutorial power of the state against us." Representatives with both the DOJ and FBI disputed the account in the emails. The FBI disagrees with a number of characterizations of the meeting as described in the excerpts of a staffer's emails provided to us by Fox News, the FBI said in a statement. A DOJ official told Fox News that Rosenstein never threatened anyone in the room with a criminal investigation. The official said the department and bureau officials in the room are all quite clear that the characterization of events laid out here is false, adding that Rosenstein was responding to a threat of contempt. So I'm not going to read all of this. And I know you're saying, "Oh, thank you. But it's all a big old mess, if you ask me. Now, Kasha Patel, Q says name to remember. So that's who we were to be paying attention to there. And Kasha Patel is a senior counsel for counterterrorism at the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence and a staffer with Representative Devin Nunes, chairman of the Intelligence Committee. Patel came under the spotlight for the first time when he traveled to London along with another staffer in search of Christopher Steele. That should be Steele. Author of a controversial dossier on Trump, which we are all aware of. So, now, Q references this post here and then says, good interviews coming up on Ingram regarding Rod Rosenstein, Freedom Caucus, Q. Now, what is the Freedom Caucus, in case you don't know? I'm going to tell you. Okay, I'm going to let you know a little secret. I had to look it up too. What is the House Freedom Caucus and who's in it? Amid all the coverage of House Republic, I'm not going to read all this. I'm just going to give you the, a quick 411 on it. Amid all the coverage of House Republicans' unruly efforts to select a speaker who can demand broad support from their fractious ranks, one name keeps coming up, the House Freedom Caucus. But what exactly is the House Freedom Caucus? Pew Research Center has confirmed the identities of 36 Freedom Caucus members through representatives' public statements, their comments to the media, and the office's direct response. A handful of other House members who reportedly belong to the group could not be confirmed. The communications director for Representative Darrell Issa of California, for example, said he could neither confirm nor deny Issa's membership in the caucus. Ideologically speaking, they're among the most conservative of House Republicans, though not all are on the rightmost end of the spectrum. So they're the most conservative, and I really do have to look into this further because I don't know what they do or what their role is really. So here's a list of them. But so if you know and you can succinctly put it in one of the comments, that would be great, because I'm just not aware. I've heard that name before, the House Freedom Caucus, but I've never really looked into what it was, and I should have. So let's go back. And now, all right, let's go back up here. See where this starts. Okay, so an anon replies and says, just a reply to Q from last thread about Ingram interview. It was an awful interview. Once again, weak, ineffectual, limp-wristed promises to hold a vote, to hold Rosenstein in contempt. Who cares? Until Rosenstein is hauled off by the House Sergeant at Arms, as granted per the Supreme Court, it means nothing. Anyone remember Holder? Nothing happened to him. Nothing. This pisses me off to no end. Just close the fist and crush them already. What the hell is Trump waiting for? Well, you knew that Q was going to respond to that, and he did. And he said, full weight of the House versus arm. Why are optics important? How does DC work? Why is Ryan still in office? Lame duck. Why is Ryan leaving office? Who controls Ryan? Otis engaged. Q. Now, Nunes and Gowdy accuse the DOJ, Rod Rosenstein, of anonymous attacks versus House Intel Committee GOP staffer Kashyap, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name right, and forgive me if I'm not, Patel. He helped write the memo alleging FISA abuse by the FBI and DOJ. Rod Rosenstein threatened to subpoena emails, phone calls, and other docs from committee members. Ingram interview was with Freedom Caucus members Meadows and Jordan regarding Rod Rosenstein was weak, but Q says they represent the full weight of the House versus arm. DC is controlled by deep state via threats and blackmail. Ryan's deep state / cabal strings have been cut. Therefore, he is under the control of POTUS now. And I do believe that. Now, this is a little snapshot of a post from Q, and I just stuck this in here because it makes it more, because he used arm here. All right. Now, let me see if I can make this a little bigger. Sure, I can. All right. This is back from February 5th, and he said, how do you retain freedom of the press if those in front of the camera, trusted by select viewers, are extensions of the arm? So I would say the arm is deep state, right? That's what I would assume that they are, because this whole post says, imagine this: raw intel collection, narrative feeder, narrative collectors, narrative distributors, leaks, classified payments, foreign accounts, cash, spook files, hotel, blackmail. How do you retain freedom of the press if those in front of the camera are extensions of the arm? Well, that arm would be the cabal or the deep state. So that's how I'm interpreting it. And I think that that is a pretty reasonable interpretation. So he's saying it's the full weight of the House versus the arm of the deep state. So why are optics important? How does DC work? Well, we know that. Blackmails, threats, whatever. And we know to a certain extent that POTUS has engaged in a similar, not a bad sort of, but it was sort of like, okay, we're not going to prosecute you if you don't seek re-election. Then you won't be prosecuted. Just, bye-bye. And so that's why so many are not seeking re-election. And, it is a form of blackmail, I suppose. Not really, but I guess, because they deserve to be punished. But anyway, let's go on. We'll have more clarity as we go. So, the next Q says, well, first, this Anon post, is Ryan still there because he is going to support POTUS? And Q responds and says, who brings the votes? House floor. Who brings the votes to the House floor? Well, that's Paul Ryan. Paul Ryan does. Now, who decides? Who decides what votes to bring to the floor? Paul Ryan. Why is this important? Well, I guess if, he's no longer got any ties to deep state, it's a good thing. What is coming? The OIG report. And the OIG report is going to contain crimes committed by the former administration. Full weight of the House. Some must remain clean, distant from what is about to happen. And, votes will be needed. Example, to impeach Rod Rosenstein and others, those facing re-election must remain clean. And now I got that from Lisa May. I wanted to give her, credit where credit's due. But I do think that definitely Paul Ryan is the one that brings the votes and decides. And so I guess we need to trust that he is going to support POTUS. Because that's how I would read that there, personally. All right. Now, the next one, an Anon says qproofs.com. And, I meant to do that. I meant to go out and qproofs.com to see if it's an actual website or what. I meant to do that earlier. Oh, well, look where it goes. Interesting. Yep. Qproofs by Anons. There you go. qproof.com. Awesome. All right. So this Anon says qproofs.com. Just letting people know, I guess, that it's out there. And Q responds, no proofs collection here. Pinned, no links within each post. Top, you will need soon. And then Q says, link to proofs, Q. So I'm not really sure. 2234. Okay. These actually were just within seconds of each other. And okay. So I guess he's saying, an Anon put qproofs.com, but Q is saying no proofs collection here. And I guess, by here, I think he means on the chans. No links within each post. You will need soon, Q. So Q is asking for that proof collection to be pinned and links within each post. And then he tells us why. This Anon says, this board in the coming months will be spread and discussed across all platforms. Important to be prepared. And Q responds to this and says, Think new arrivals. Proofs are important. Thank you, Otis, Anons. So he's saying these proofs are important because there's more and more people getting their eyes open. There's more and more people checking this out, and especially since North Korea, because I think a lot of people have had their eyes open in that whole thing. I really do. So what are they doing? They're searching all of a sudden, and it's pretty hard to get up to speed on Q if you haven't been keeping up. It really is. And it's easy to turn it off and go, this is a bunch of bunk. It really is, because unless you have been following it and you see the proofs over and over and over, that's what convinces you. But to just look at, a list of Q posts, no, you need the stuff side by side, and for people to, it's just easier to analyze for people coming in, new people coming in. So, this Anon says, Q, if you confirm proofs, then those on Twitter, lurkers, and even those with little to no knowledge of the Great Awakening will pay attention more and add validity to the proofs. The proofs and side-by-sides I see that are circulated the most are the ones you have confirmed. Thank you for your service to the Great Awakening. God bless you, POTUS, and the United States of America. Now Q responds to this and says, Roger that. Q. Roger that. Now, here's the next Q post, and he says, MSM attacks, round 2. So we're in round 2 now, or round 2's coming, one or the other. Mossad, I don't know what Mossad is. I guess it's a little more than less sod. If you got Mossad, never mind. I'm telling you, at this time of night, it happens to me every night. And when I leave my posts until last, this is what happens. It's embarrassing. All right, I'll try to hold it together. Mossad. Okay, Mossad attempts failed. So what they tried to do over in Syria, etc., failed. It failed. So the clown attempts failed. All the CIA attempts, they failed. Expect bigger push. FBI, there are 4 open investigations. 8chan, risk. DDoS plus inject. Together, and we know that the 8chan is always at risk, right? From a DDoS attacks and from people injecting themselves in. So that's not anything new, but he said, together you are stronger. Together you control narrative and response. People respond to logic, facts. Yes, they do. They really do. People sleeping attach to opinion / personality / groupthink. So it's the sleeping that attach to people's opinion. They see something on the mainstream media and they just parrot it. And I hear it all the time. I'll read something from the mainstream media because I do like to check them, check out what they're saying just to keep track of all the lies. And then I hear people parroting it, like word for word. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like what? It's crazy. Anyway, fear is real. Fear, you know what fear is? I've always heard that it's false evidence appearing real. Fear. And I think there's some truth to that. But anyway, fear is real. Fear, Twitter throttling and shadow ban, coded, QAnon, 4chan mods plus remove, replace, controlled, Reddit mods plus remove, replace, controlled, mainstream media, conspiracy push 1, controlled, FBI, remove, replace, controlled. So I think that what he's saying is the ones where that says controlled, I think that he's saying it's under control, I think. Quiet attempts to shut down will become public and loud. Do not be silent, as in the majority. They are losing control. Power with the people. Great awakening. Truth. Good versus evil. Where we go one, we go all. Trust yourself. Q. So, yeah, I mean, and we're aware of all these things that have been done to discredit, to shut down, to disinfo, everything. Anything that they can do to shut down the message they are trying to do. Now, all right, let's go down here. Now, these two were posted and then taken down from the boards, and this was June 12th, and it's interesting because if you go to POTUS schedule, he says busy day, Q. So let's go to, hang on here. Alrighty, just 1 second. Okay, if we go out to that schedule, we go out to that link, this is what we find. We find POTUS schedule, Wednesday, the 13th of June. And good to be back at the castle. No time for rest and relaxation. We must continue to serve the American people. Now look, this was the 12th when he wrote, Castle arrival good. Blue metal. Blue metal may even have something to do with the missile. I don't know, but interesting. So, on guard, Z-bunk. So it's interesting, and this may have even been a code to someone because it says on guard, Z-bunk, T6YEXE. And then there's a long key here. Maybe that's what was the authorization to shoot it down. I don't know. But that right there, to me, that has to be a code for something, to give someone a code for something. So he says castle arrival good, and then POTUS tweets. Good to be back at the castle. No time for rest and relaxation. We must continue to serve the American people. Now, so this is, okay, then Q referring to this that an Anon posted, he says, why are many Iranian resistance freedom fighters tagging QAnon on Twitter? Big things coming, folks. Q plus. Well, you know that we're told that Iran is next, right? North Korea, then Iran. And Q also told us that Iran would be free by 11/11. So, I don't know. Makes sense that the freedom fighters would be checking out Q, right? I don't know. That's what I would say. That would be my answer, is that, well, yeah, of course they're checking out Q. They're tagging QAnon on Twitter because their time's coming. In a good way. Big things coming, folks, is what he says. So, there you go. Right. Okay, now the next thing we have is this by Q. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. And accordingly, all experience has shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the form to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably the same object evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism. It is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Wow. Awesome. All right, let's go on to the next. Reread 10 times, 50 times, 100 times, slowly and carefully. Stop after each sentence. Analyze. Understand significance. Reread. Continue. Appointment of a second special counsel would fail. Think why. Sealed tight. Race for time. They depend on winning in November to defend, impeach, stop investigations. Their only hope. So yeah, that is their only hope at this point, right? Their only hope is to win in November so that they can stop the investigations and do all this. So they don't have time. There's no time left to be, investigating and see this. We've looked at many times before, but I'm going to go out there so you know what I'm talking about. We have looked at this because Q keeps bringing us back and bringing us back and bringing us back. Sessions appointing Utah federal prosecutor much better for Trump than second special counsel. Why? Well, it's all right here. Professor Jonathan Turley, a top national legal expert on government investigations, commented on Thursday about Attorney General Jeff Sessions' decision to bring in U.S. Attorney John Huber. Turley called it brilliant to combine all the powers of the U.S. Department of Justice Inspector General with a prosecutor who can bring charges, seek indictments, and get results for President Trump far more quickly than a second special counsel. So that is the whole deal. So Huber combines, all the power of the DOJ's Inspector General with a prosecutor who can bring charges, seek indictments, and get results for President Trump faster than second counsel. He's been investigating crimes since the 13th of November 2017. Second special counsel would impact midterms. Right? I think this is pretty straightforward, and I think we can see why this is so. Now, this pretty huge. Wow, there's so many planes going over tonight. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but I'm in the flight path for military planes, and they're busy tonight. Anyway, so let's go up to here. Actually, I think it starts here. Yeah. So Q responds to the post that we just looked at and says, Lee S. De-ops Hussein hacking state voting system. Now, Lee S. is Lee Stranahan, and Democratic operatives under Obama, the Democratic operatives hacked state voting system. And there's now proof. Under Obama, Democratic operatives hacked state voting system. Now, Q says the tip. This is just the tip of the iceberg. They must win at all costs. Yeah, they're pretty much done for unless they do win. Seth Rich, SR, Seth Rich, 187, we know is murder. So Seth Rich murder discovery. Okay, and now Q's telling us why they must win at all costs. UK, Secret Intelligence Service. CIA, Russia, mask hack. Same has China subwash set up. God save us. Q. Now, this is Lee Stranahan here, and I would suggest you go out to his Twitter because there is, and it's quite long. That's why I'm not going to play it for you, and I may get a copyright strike if I did that. But Lee Stranahan, either Google it, well, DuckDuckGo it. I really dislike Google for obvious reasons. And you'll find this. You'll find him talking about this. And he says, breaking red alert. Democrat operative involved in Obama administration hacking of state voting systems. And he has the proof. So that is freaking huge. Huge. And she still lost. What does that say? Wow. She can't even win a rigged election. Like, how bad does it have to be that you can't win a rigged election? Wow. All right. So, again, Q makes reference to the one about this. Read slowly and carefully, stop after each sentence, analyze, about Huber. And then Q responds to that and says, what they do not anticipate is POTUS declassifying it all due to optics and ARM/MSM foothold on communications to paint political attack, plus Russia investigation cover-up, ADV, I don't know, adverse, I don't know. So they don't anticipate that President Trump is going to declassify it all. And he's going to do this due to the optics and the arm and the mainstream media foothold. The arm of the cabal, the arm of the deep state, and the mainstream media foothold on communications. So to paint political attack plus Russia investigation cover-up. We are here for a reason. We are here to unite the core. You. Why did POTUS name fake news as our biggest enemy? Because it is. Because if we can't even rely on the news we're being given, then what is real? How do we know what's real anymore? Fake news is a huge, huge deal. Use logic. This will be a fight not through DC, we control, but with public opinion once this jumps. 2 missile fires with a strategic purpose. 2 extinguished. So this is where we get the 2 missiles. So 2 missiles have been fired with a strategic purpose. Both were extinguished. So this would be a very different world tonight had they not been intercepted or extinguished. It would be a very, very different world, and we would be probably having a very different conversation. This will be, okay, this is not a game. This is war. This is literally evil knocking. Will you answer? Will you fight? Well, I'm not going to answer if evil's knocking. No, I'm not going to answer the door if evil's knocking. Will you fight? Will you defend? I'll defend what's right. And I think you will too. We will. We are. You elected us to take back our country, our world. Enough is enough. Yes. Have you ever seen that Illuminati? It just popped into my mind. And the Illuminati card game, Enough is Enough, looks identical to Trump. If you don't know what the Illuminati card game is, then you can look it up. But I think it's part of being red-pilled. So if you're not aware of what it is, or if you would like me to do a video on it, I'd be more than happy to do a video on it if you want me to. So just say so, and I will, because it's something that I've looked into quite extensively. So, all right, let's move on. That may be the last post. It is the last post. So we've come to the end. This was a very, very long video, and I apologize that it's so lengthy, but there was a lot to cover there. And tomorrow's a big day. I'm going to get some sleep. I would suggest that you guys get a good night's sleep as well if you can, because tomorrow's going to be a big day. I know a lot of people will be at work when it comes out, but I'm pretty sure that by tomorrow evening it'll probably be all over the news, and we'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, have a wonderful evening, sleep well, and stay safe.